Today we're installing and reviewing THINKWARE's ARC Dash Cam. Now this dash cam aims to revolutionize your driving experience with crystal clear 2K 1440p footage from both the front and rear facing cameras. THINKWARE promises stunning clarity day or night thanks to ARC's advanced OmniVision sensor and Super Night Vision 2.0. The 2.7-inch touchscreen allows for instant playbacks, reviews, and has intelligent safety features. From traffic alerts to departure warnings, this camera's got your back. Its GPS functionality allows for real-time alerts for speed and red light cameras, while also embedding data like speed, time, and location to your recordings. Today we're only going to be focusing on the front-facing camera, as my Bronco's hardtop is not really rear-facing camera ready just yet. But don't worry, I'm super excited to show you all that this camera's got to offer. Let's go ahead and dive into opening up this box and seeing what's inside. Ooh, there it is. So far this does look really cool. Now I do want to say I was looking at this brand of dash cam when I first got my Bronco because they sell them on the Ford website. So I'm really excited to take a look at this guy and put it to the test. And here are all the accessories. Okay, that's the mount, I believe, for putting it onto the windshield. We have a GPS antenna right here. This is the rear-facing camera, which I am not installing today, but I'm definitely going to keep for possible installation in the future. So just some more cords for installation. Now I know for sure what this is. This is if you were not going to hardwire it and if you just wanted to put it into a 12-volt plug, you can, but we're obviously not going to be doing that today. We're going to be hardwiring it, which I'm super excited about. These are some clips with 3M adhesive to the back. That way you could go ahead and tuck in the wire nice and tight if you were only going to do the wire. I believe this is an extra adhesive for the mount for the windshield. And, oh, that's cute. They give us a little plastic pry tool that says THINKWARE on it. And here are the instructions. Before we can even start running the wires, installing the new dash cam, I do have to remove my old dash cam. So I am gonna start with just taking the camera off the mount over here. It just kind of slides over, pulls off. I'm gonna go ahead and unplug it. It was actually running, that's funny. And I'm gonna go ahead and set this guy aside. I'm gonna go ahead and pull just gently. I remember running this wire was fairly easy, so I'm not concerned about like pulling too hard. But right there is where I need to go ahead and take this Bronco torque key and go ahead and remove the grab handle on this side because I removed it when I put the wire in to keep it tight. Okay, the bolts are out, so this guy should, push towards like that, and the clips come right off. Right here, we have the tightest part of the wire, which would be the hardest to remove. It's just in the corner. So what I did is I took a plastic pry tool, and I went ahead along here, just kind of guided the wire where I needed it to be, and it came right out. From what I remember, I just went around this edge right here, which looks about right. I didn't do a very good job of tucking this in, I don't think. Because there it is. Now we can go ahead and unplug it from the 12 volt in my center console. What I'm super excited about this new dash cam is that we have a hardwire kit, so I won't have to run all of this wire underneath my steering column near where my pedals are, because this wire did kind of start falling on me, which my installation that did that, but it was really annoying. And then I hated that I had the wire running along my center console here. It just didn't look as clean as I wanted it to look. I want a dash cam that I can forget is there based on like wiring, so I'm excited for this new one. I cleaned the glass using a glass cleaner just before I go ahead and install the mount. That way you get a good adhesion from the adhesive to the glass. So just want to make sure I know exactly where it goes before I peel off the sticky.
So sticky's coming off. This part always makes me a little bit nervous. Okay. Mount is now installed. So let me go ahead. I do want to put this on here just so that way I can make sure I like it. And I do. Perfect. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and start running the wires. So this kit came with a variety of wires. Obviously one to run for the rear view camera, one to hardwire, one if you just want to connect it to a 12 volt. So we are going to be using the hard wiring kit. The two wires, one is connected to the accessory power, one is connected to a battery power or always on. And the reason for that is because it has a parking camera, meaning that it will get footage if you're parked in a parking lot, even if your car is off. But it does want the accessory power as well, so that way it knows when your car turns on. So in order for us to be able to hardwire this, we do need to access the cabin fuse box. Now the cabin fuse box is underneath the steering wheel on the left-hand side, but in order to be able to access it, we do have to remove this plastic panel right here. Now, just like with the handle that was right here, there are clips that do need to be pulled off in order to open this up. Okay, so this side is loose, so I do need to go over to that side now. There we go. You can already see it starts to hang down. There we go. So the fuses I'm going to be tapping into, I had to tap into two different ones. One is 25 and one is 37. I'll show you where those are in just a minute. Now 25 is the constant power, meaning that that is going to provide the consistent power to the dash cam whether the car is on or not. 37 is the accessory power, which will only be turned on when the ignition is turned on itself. Again, we have to access both of those because we have two cords going to both, one for the actual dash cam while we're driving and one for the parking camera. So I'm going to go ahead and access these by pulling them out. So I'm going to start with 25, which is this light green one that says 20 right here. I'm going to go ahead and grab it right in the middle. Okay, and that's the first one. Again, that's fuse number 25. The next one is 37, which is all the way down here. Again, the light green one that says 20, all the way down at the bottom left-hand side. There you go. What I'm going to do before I run any of the wires is I am going to go ahead and actually wire them to the fuses so I can test it before I run anything. One thing to keep in mind is usually we prefer to use fuse taps. However, the instructions for this camera actually say to wrap the wire directly around the fuse, one of the prongs. So I am going to give that a try. We'll see how it goes. Usually fuse taps are more of the way to go, but that's okay. So the yellow wire that's labeled battery, that is the one that I need constantly on. So I'm going to connect that to the fuse I pulled out of 25. And the way I'm going to do that, and the way it says to do that in the instructions, is to basically create a loop. Okay, so I was attempting to wrap the wire around the prong, but it wasn't really going as long as I needed it to, so I'm using some wire strippers to go ahead and strip back some of this plastic on here to just give me a little bit more space to play with the wire. I'm going to go ahead and plug this guy back in to the fuse box just so that way I can make sure that the actual wire is wrapped enough that it'll work. I'm going to use my fingers to press it in. So I'm going to go ahead and work on wiring up this guy to the accessory power. So what I need to do is go ahead and strip back some more of the wire to do the same thing with the fuse that I just did. There we go. I'm gonna go ahead and plug this guy in. We do have to go ahead and use the grounding wire, put it somewhere that is metal on metal, so I'm gonna go ahead and do it right here. So in order to do this, I'm gonna go ahead and loosen up the bolt using an 8mm socket on a socket wrench. Now this socket wrench actually came from my Bronco toolkit, but any socket wrench will do. And I'm not gonna take it out, I'm just gonna loosen it. Okay, so now that we have everything connected, I am gonna go ahead, connect this to the dash cam and see if it works. So I am gonna go ahead and pull the dash cam off its mount. So I'm gonna go ahead and plug this into what's called the DC in, just like that. Now it does say that there will be, oh, there it is. So that light right there is saying, or it was saying that it was, oh, there we go. So the GPS port is right here. So what I am gonna start with is I am gonna start by plugging in the actual GPS cord. Because again, I wanna try to run this as cleanly as possible. So I want to see where I can go ahead and tuck it. Now, once the cord is there, I'm gonna put the camera back up. And I'm gonna kind of play around with this cord to find the best location where I can hide the cord so it doesn't look so ugly. So what I'm gonna try is I'm gonna try to run the cord up through here. There actually is a little space right here. Try to run it over to here to this plastic piece that can slide right down. Or pop right off. And that way when the cord runs back down, it'll run on top of the rear view mirror right here to there instead of making a mess over here. So we're gonna try that before I even stick it on. The cord goes through here. All the slack can hang out under here. So I'm gonna go ahead and actually mount it. And again, you definitely wanna wipe down your windshield with a glass cleaner or alcohol swab beforehand just to get good adhesion. And all that extra wire will be hidden. There we go. Pre-installed in the camera is a 32GB SD card. It's right on the left-hand side of the camera right here. So you want to go ahead and double check to make sure it's in there. Once you've done that, then you're ready to go ahead and run the wire. So I'm gonna go ahead and start finding the areas I want to go ahead and tuck this cable away. The biggest tip that I can give is holding the wire up along where you want to shove it in at. And the reason I say that, gravity will pull the wire down and it kind of starts to untuck the wire where you just tucked it in at, so you don't want to lose what you've already done. There. Because then that helps me to line everything up correctly. So it's all tucked in here. So I'm gonna go ahead, try to run it back behind the plastic. So I went ahead, tucked the wire along the side, just trying to make sure that it's clean. I don't really want it poking out. And then I'm gonna go ahead, make sure nothing is in the way. I'm gonna go ahead, try to close this. And it just is a push, make sure all the clips clip. Oh, but see there's a wire right there poking out. Okay, there we go.
After a few weeks of having the THINKWARE ARC Dash Cam installed in my Ford Bronco, I've had plenty of time to see what it's like day to day. Right out of the gate, I'll say it's a solid performer, but as with any tech, it's got its pros and cons. From the first drive, the image quality was impressive, but over time, I started noticing a few things like how sensitive the impact sensor is and how the night footage could be better. The impact sensing on this dash cam is very sensitive, so much so that even going over speed bumps or shutting the door would trigger a recording. I had to turn it down to reduce false alarms. Thanks to the hardwired installation, I can take advantage of the different parking modes, which are a great way to keep an eye on your vehicle when you're not around. These modes include motion detection, time-lapse, and energy-saving options. The ARC also has some driver alert features. It'll give you a heads up when the car in front of you moves forward or the traffic light changes. It's also supposed to alert for speed and red light cameras, but I couldn't test this feature in my area. You can adjust how loud these alerts are, but keep in mind there's no lane departure or collision warnings. One nice touch is that THINKWARE included a 32GB memory card. It's not huge, but it saves you the hassle of buying one separately. I'd recommend upgrading to at least 64 or 128 gigabytes though. The THINKWARE app is pretty straightforward to use. It makes it easy to adjust settings, view footage, and download recordings. It's not fancy, but it gets the job done without much fuss. When it comes to video quality, the ARC really shines during the day. The footage is crisp and clear, making it easy to pick out details, but at night, it's a different story. The video tends to get a bit blurry or overexposed, which can make it tough to read license plates in low light. Now let's talk price. At around $190 with a coupon on Amazon, it's not a bad deal. But if it jumps back over to $100 and you don't care about having a screen on the dash cam itself, you might want to consider the THINKWARE Q200. It has similar front camera specs, and the THINKWARE app is pretty good to view footage. Overall, the THINKWARE ARC has a sleek design and connects easily to the app. The included hardware kit is a nice bonus too. While it has some quirks like the nighttime recording quality and the overly sensitive impact sensor, it's a solid option if you're in the market for a new dash cam. I've put links down below to both this dash cam and the THINKWARE Q200 so you can check them out and make the right choice for your needs. And hey, if you're a fan of the Ford Bronco like me, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We've got plenty more Bronco content coming your way, from mods to trail adventures. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye guys.